In case you are new to the channel, we made a video a few weeks back, I think it is, where we broke down your lineups and kind of discussed how you should make your lineups. So if you want to check that out, this kind of correlates with that video. The link will be right up there. But also, we're going to be breaking down lineups that people submitted in my Discord. If you want to join a Discord and maybe take part in something like this in another time, make sure to join the link down in the description. We'd love to have you in there with us. We talk all MLB The Show and stuff in there. We're going to break down people's lineups, give them a little number rating, and we'll see what we can improve with each lineup and try to help people lead them to the right direction. So if you want to see more, if you want to take part in something like this, make sure to like the video and leave a comment down below. What else would you want to see like this in MLB The Show? What would you want to see me critique of yours? And then other than that, I think we'll just get right into the video. Actually, wait a second. Before we get into that, I will be streaming for a probably long time later today. The new Moments Extreme, whatever the new Extreme stuff comes out today. So we're going to be streaming for God knows how long until we get them all done. So if you want to chill with us, have a good time, if you want to learn how to get the moments done, whatever the situation is, make sure to follow the Twitch channel down below. The link will be down there in the description. And we'll also be doing videos on the channel, hopefully to have them up tomorrow or early Saturday for you all to check out how to complete those moments and everything to yourself. So make sure to subscribe down below if you want more MLB The Show 20 tips. And without further ado, let's get right into it. So I have a channel on my Discord, the MLB Lineups channel, and I have people submit screenshots. And I already answered and broke down some of these in the Discord. But I'm going to talk about them in this video for the purpose of just discussing it with you all and how I feel about lineup structure. So my first lineup is LA Enterprise. He's a mod in the channel. And this is the lineup he's rocking. Tatis, Larry Walker, Trout, Mantle, Babe, Hornsby, Brett, Biggio, and then his pitcher. So you look at this lineup, it's a pretty well-balanced lineup. He has all the goons in there. He said everyone is prestige that is prestigiable, except for Tatis. So Larry Walker, Trout, Mantle, and George Brett, and Biggio are all prestige. So he's got a lot of those done, which is definitely really good. And you look at the order here, it's a pretty well-balanced lineup. I think the only thing I would do differently is put Mickey Mantle in the 2 spot over Larry Walker. I say this fairly often. I think that you need to have a switch hitter or a righty with reverse splits in that 2 spot. I just feel like hitting lefty-lefty in this game is like so hard sometimes, especially when some players have a shift on. So I think it's worth having a switch hitter or a righty in that 2 spot whenever you can. But you look at Larry Walker, he's a great opposite field hitter. If anyone's going to be a great lefty-lefty hitter, it's going to be Larry. But I think he fits better in like the 5 spot. So you look at his team, I made a little lineup for him about how I would adjust it. Here's what I came up with. I suggested him Tatis leadoff, then Mantle, Babe, Trout, Larry, Hornsby, and then George Brett and Biggio. So I think that the lineup would be a little bit more well-balanced that way. He gets the switch hitter in the 2 spot. And also we could have Larry in the heart of his order still hitting 5th. I just think having Babe Ruth in the 3 spot and then Larry in the 5 spot, you can kind of interchange those, whoever you hit for more pop with. Just make sure you have the player you hit for more power with in the 3 spot. Is how good is George Brett? Because I don't think he has the power to be a really good card. I think especially if you're going to be playing on Hall of Fame or Legend perhaps, that he's going to definitely be a little weak even though he's prestiged. Just because he doesn't have that high power numbers that you can get at third with like Gary Sheffield. Actually, I'm going to rate this lineup an 8.5 out of 10 just because of the structure that he has here. But I did show him and discuss with him what I think he should do. All right, so next we have another mod on the channel, Uncle Chazzy. And this is definitely an interesting lineup. It's not a God squad, which is, you know, I like to see these lineups. I like to see lineups with different players because that's the thing that's so fun about MLB The Show is that you can have different lineups, different players of all different tiers of how you earn them. And you could still do just as well with those squads as you can with some God squads. So let's just look at the lineup here. He has Trey Turner at third, Tatis, Harper, Hornsby, Ruth, Adam Duvall, the new tops now, out in left field, Jorge Posada, and Craig Biggio in the 8th spot, out in center. And I talked about this to Mr. Chazzy here. And I think he just had some weird positions with his infielders. I think that he has like 3 second basemen on this team. So definitely something you don't see every day. But I think that putting Biggio in the outfield is a pretty good spot for him. I told him that I think he should put Turner out in center field because he has like 99 speed. So that speed is going to be a bigger deal in center field. And don't get me wrong, Craig Biggio is a solid defender out there, but I think you could get way more use out of center field by putting this speed there. Also, I think I told him to put Hornsby at third to kind of hide him out there. Other than that, I think the lineup is pretty fair. Turner's a great leadoff bat. Tatis is a great 2-spot hitter because he has reverse splits. Harper's a good 3 hitter. I think also Adam Duvall is a question mark. I'm curious how he plays this game. He has power, and he actually has pretty solid defense for what he is. But I think there are also better options that you could attain for free, like that Castellanos you could throw in the outfield. But it's a good squad. It's a good squad nonetheless. I would rate it a 7.5 out of 10. He has the lineup pretty on lock. I think that there are some upgrades, and he had some weird positions there, so that bumps him down a couple points. All right, so next up we have I Love Kemba, another viewer in the channel. And here's his lineup. Definitely an interesting one. Lou Brock in left field. Tatis, Cody Bellinger out in right, the prestige version. Gary Sheffield, Dylan Carlson, Ryan Sandberg, Jorge Posada, and Eric Davis. And definitely an interesting lineup. Definitely not something you would see every day. I know Lou Brock is a little bit of a glitchy leadoff hitter, especially if you don't have 99 Trout. Lou Brock is a nice outfielder to have because he's got the speed. He can be really frustrating to face, and his swing plays really well. Also, love Bellinger. His swing is really good. Nice to see that he's still in some lineups for a lot of people. And then Dylan Carlson at first, I think, is the big question mark. And I wonder how he actually plays at first, because I know he's a glitchy hitter, but I think you get more power at first out of guys like David Ortiz, Eric Thames, Babe Ruth. I think you have so many options at first. I wouldn't use Carlson at first. I would use someone way better than him. I think just his lineup lacks a little bit of power. You can definitely add more power to his lineup. But it's definitely a solid lineup. He has a solid order put together. I think the only thing I would maybe do in his order is swap Ryan Sandberg and Eric Davis. I just think that you put Eric Davis higher in the order because I think his power numbers are higher. And I hope he hits for more power than Ryan Sandberg because that dude swings a damn noodle for me. And he has options as well on the bench to throw out there in case he doesn't like him. I think I would put that Bo Bichette at second over Ryan Sandberg. But I don't know how he hits with them. Again, I would rate this a 7.5. I think the lineup was actually well structured, except for that one little placement thing. I just think there's some upgrades that he could get that would be more viable for his team, like getting a more power hitting first baseman than Carlson. All right, so next we have another mod in the channel, Godly Postman. He's got a God squad here. Let's get it. He's got Biggio, Mantle, Trout, Walker, Tatis, Babe, Gary Sheffield, and then Jorge Posada in the 8th spot. So actually very, very similar to my lineup, except he's just got to get those prestige cards done. I actually like how he structured his order here. He has Mantle in the 2 spot, which I always love. He has Mantle out in left field. He's not prestige. That's where I would put him as well because he's going to have gold defense. Larry Walker in the cleanup spot is a dub. Tatis 5 is a good spot for him as well. I think it's a good lineup, a very good lineup. I just feel that Tatis, with his speed, is a great leadoff hitter. And I think Biggio is also a great leadoff hitter because he's got a high contact. And I just think that if he put Tatis in the leadoff spot and then hit Biggio 7th, I think it would just make this lineup look so much more deep. Because from the first batter, he could have home run threats all the way down to the 7th spot. Any one of those guys can easily hit homers, which I think in this game, power plays so well. I would definitely do that if this were me. But I think Tatis in the 5 spot is a great spot. I mean, Godly's got the squad. I mean, other than just him lacking a couple prestiges, because I don't think he plays the game as much as some others, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I think it's a good lineup. I'll give him credit for this lineup. He actually did a good job putting it together. Speed through these, because my man Oxide runs 3 teams, and he submitted 3 screenshots of lineups. And they're not really God squads, but they're interesting teams with different players, because he likes to just use as many players as possible. So he has 3 separate squads he uses. So let's just break down the lineups real quick. He has one lineup where he has Jackie, Mantle, Tatis, Tomey, Donaldson, Harper, Hornsby, and Joe Torre. I think this lineup has some weaknesses where there's maybe one too many righties in there, and it's a perfect opportunity to replace Jackie Robinson. Now, don't get me wrong, Jackie is great, and he uses him because he has the same first name as him, but, like, you're throwing him out in left field. Is that really, like, worth it? But he has him on the team, so I guess that is what it is. Credit to using the players that you actually enjoy. Um, I like Donaldson at third. I think he's one of the best, if not the best, third baseman in the game in terms of just being an all around primary third base with power and defense. Love him in the 5 spot there. Um, I think it's just again a situation where if we're using this lineup here, I think you could throw a lefty here over Jackie and then move Tatis to the leadoff spot. I think he's a great leadoff hitter. Other than that, great lineup. I would rate this lineup an 8 out of 10. This lineup here is another interesting one. Ricky Henderson, Mike Trout, David Ortiz, George Springer, George Brett, Bo Bichette, Jose Ramirez, and Matt Wieters, an underrated catcher option. I like it. Find it interesting that he has him out there, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't have Posada on any of his squads. Because I would suggest that Posada over that Matt Wieters. But Wieters is definitely a solid option. He has good defense. I think this lineup is definitely lacking a little bit of power. I think all the power really resides in the 2 to 4 spots. I don't think the rest of that squad is going to hit for crazy power. George Brett, again, I feel like he doesn't have the power numbers that you would want at a third baseman. So I feel like you have to get that power elsewhere, and I don't think he has that enough. I just find it weird having 2 switch hitters up in a row at the bottom of the order, and you have 2 righties to start off the order. This one I'll give a 7.5. And in the final lineup here, we have Craig Biggio, Ty Cobb, Gary Sheffield, Babe Ruth, Ernie Banks, Larry Walker, Luis Robert, and Roberto Alomar. This is my second take of the video, and the first time I watched this, I didn't realize this. He should put Ty Cobb in the leadoff spot. He's the perfect leadoff hitter with 99 speed, 99 stealing, and he has high contact and good power too, so he could take a yard as well. Hit him leadoff, and then you move Roberto Alomar to the 2 spot, and that top 3 is going to be looking a lot more balanced. Alomar is a little bit of an underrated hitter, and I think having a switch hitter in that 2 spot is a big plus. And then his lineup would be pretty well balanced past that point. You could have Sheffield, Babe, Banks, Walker, Robert, and then Biggio. Or you could even flip those lefties in so you don't have 2 righties in a row at the bottom of the order. I like this order here. I like this squad. It's an interesting squad. He has more power in this team. And this is more of a typical squad other than really Alomar and Robert, I feel like, that you would see on a lot of good teams. This one I would rate an 8.5. I just think that the lineup order the Ty Cobb is the perfect leadoff hitter. Mateo. And look at the team name, by the way. You heard him, man. Freaking subscribe. But I like the squad. It's not the godliest of God squads, but it's a pretty damn good squad. I think there are a couple good points to mention here. That first of all, having to create a player at third, I don't think is the most useful. I think that's a great spot for Gary Sheffield. He has him. It's a great spot for him. Or if he could even put Ernie Banks. I think how expensive Ernie Banks is, I don't think he's worth taking up a bench spot. I think you find a way to get him in your lineup for that price point he is. Or you just sell him. Or you use the creative player at second, because I think Ryan Sandberg has his weaknesses. He must hit really good with Sandberg for him to still be on this team. Also, Lou Bob is a nice outfield option if you don't have that 99 Trout. Very good option. I like him. Other than that, I mean, pretty solid order. I just think the 2 righties at the bottom of the order is going to kill him. I think he should put Sandberg or Torrey in that 6th spot and then have his cap hit 7th, just for the sake of balance. You know what? Good job, Mateo. I'll give that an 8 out of 10. Gotta use your cap elsewhere, I think. So here is another mod in the channel, JT. Here's his order. Actually, he has Nick Castellanos at third base in that 5 spot. This screenshot's all bugged. So the order is Tatis, Mantle, Trout, Thames, Castellanos, Walker, Posada, Pitcher, Jackie. And this is an interesting lineup because he uses the second leadoff at the 9 spot in the order. And I personally don't feel, in this game especially, it's worth doing that. Just because if you're playing a full ranked season game, your pitcher's going to be batting more. You're going to get a lot of pitchers pitch around Posada just because the pitcher's coming up more often. I think it's just kind of a waste of a spot. I think you're better off hitting Jackie in the 8 or 7 spot and then have someone else before the pitcher. Personally, I think that is really the best way to balance your order. Say it's just going to kill a lot of rallies having the pitcher up in the 8 spot. So I personally would not do that. But other than that, I mean, I like the lineup. I like the team. The lineup is very well balanced. Other than that, he has Thames in the cleanup spot, which is a great spot for him. He has Castellanos, which is also a stud of a card. I'll give this lineup an 8.5 just because the second leadoff batter is not really my strategy. And our final lineup is from another mod, Andrew Mustang. He's a damn goon this game. So I'm curious to see how this lineup is. He has Bo Bichette at third base leading off. Mickey Mantle on the 2 spot, Eric Thames, Mike Trout, Larry Walker, Tatis, creative player, and Craig Biggio in the 8 spot. And I definitely like this squad. I think it's a good squad. It doesn't have a catcher on the bench, but Craig Biggio is a good catcher to not need a catcher on the bench because he has speed. Shouldn't have to pinch run for him at all. But you look at the team, it's a good team, man. I'm curious how Bo plays at third. I don't like Bo as much just because his swing is a little lengthy. I was excited to use him, but something with either his step or his swing, I don't really enjoy it that much. So I personally would pass on him, especially using on a competitive squad. But I know he's a Jays fan, and he found a way to slide him in the order. So I'll give him credit for that because I'll tell you right now, if we got like a Gleyber Torres card in this game, I'm putting him in my lineup. I like the cap at second. I think that's the best spot for the creative player this year, especially at this point. Second base and catcher, I think, are the main 2 positions to use those. I think using them elsewhere is not really useful, in my opinion. But other than that, I like the squad. He has a good balanced order as well. I wouldn't really change anything with that order. I would very much keep it the same. So I think the batting order is the right order of players, which is, reflected in the fact that he's a damn god tier player, Andrew. So I'll give the squad I'll give it a 9.5. I just think Bo keeps him away from a 10, unless he hits nukes at them, because, if he hits nukes at them, then you put him in your damn lineup. But other than that, I think that's going to be about it. Those are all the lineups that were submitted in the Discord. I originally recorded this once, and I rambled on a bunch. And I don't really want to do that this time, so I recorded a second take. This is definitely a lot more speedy. And I hope I touched on everything with each lineup. Just to summarize things that I suggest to you all from what I've seen in this video is you should try to play for power, I think. Power is such a big thing in this year's game. If you can get players with power on your team more so than high contact guys, trust me, you will probably do way better just because this year hitting for home runs is a very crucial thing. Also, I don't think we saw a single person have that home run derby Cano, which I love at second base. I think it's kind of a toss-up between him and like Hornsby or maybe a shortstop secondary at second base. Just because second base is a kind of weak position. I don't think there are many second basemen with power. And I saw a fair amount of Rogers Hornsby out there. So interesting things to see there. Also, your outfield obviously consists mostly of Trout, Mantle, Walker, which is obviously the God Squad outfield that we're going to see most of this year. But I like to see the interesting options out there. A lot of Craig Biggio at catcher still, which I find interesting. I use Posada out there for his bat. I'm curious. It's interesting that people still love Biggio. And then other than that, I think that's about really it. You guys did a good job with your lineups for the most part. I just think that you should try to. That's going to be about it. I appreciate you all watching. If you want to take part in this next time, if you want to see more of this, make sure to like and comment down below what else you would want to see me break down of yours. Maybe we break down bullpens and rotations. Maybe we break down video, anything. I'm curious what you all think about this kind of video. I appreciate you sticking through. Remember, we will be streaming Moments Extreme and all that stuff coming out later today. Or it might even be live by the time you see this. So make sure to check out the Twitch down there. Come hang out. We would love to have you on board. And I appreciate you all hanging out, watching this video. And I will see you all in the next one. Deuces.